I now have an assertion and reason type of question. The assertion statement reads, auditory ossicles help in hearing. And the reason that is given is that they amplify the sound. Now let's look at the options. Option A, both the assertion and reason are true, and the reason explains the assertion. Option B, both the assertion and reason are true, but the reason does not explain the assertion. Option C, assertion is true, but the reason is false. Option D, assertion is false, but the reason is true. Now, this question is talking about the function of auditory ossicles in hearing. So, let's first find out how exactly these auditory ossicles help in the process of hearing. Okay, so the ear can be divided into three different regions. We have the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. It is the pinna portion of the outer ear that will receive the sound waves. So the pinna, which is this portion of the ear, so it will receive the sound waves and then it will transmit or channel these sound waves through this canal here, which is known as the external auditory canal or the external auditory meatus. Okay, so sound waves will travel through the external auditory meatus, and at the end of the external auditory canal you can find a membranous structure which is commonly known as the eardrum. Okay, so this eardrum is also known as the tympanic membrane. When sound waves reach the tympanic membrane, it will cause the tympanic membrane to vibrate. As this tympanic membrane begins to vibrate, it will start moving back and forth. Now that is the first part of the ear, which is the outer ear. In the middle ear, you can find three small bones being present. These three bones are known as the ossicles of the ear or the auditory ossicles, as it is mentioned in the question. Okay, so the three bones are the malleus, incus, and stapes. Now, the malleus, which is the first of the three ear ossicles, is connected to the tympanic membrane or the eardrum. When the tympanic membrane starts moving back and forth, it will cause the movement of these three bones also that are arranged in a series. Okay, so this will cause the three bones to move. The function of the three bones that are present in the middle ear is to amplify the sound waves. So why exactly do you think that is required? I'll tell you why. See, sound waves here in the outer ear and in the middle ear are moving through air. It's always easy to move substances through air compared to moving them in water. For example, it's easier for you to swing your hand in the air, and if you were to swing your hand in the water, it will take a lot more effort, right? It's similar for the sound waves as well. As it is moving through the outer and the middle ears, it can move easily because it's moving through air, and if it has to travel through a fluid or a liquid, it will have to be amplified. And that is what is achieved over here in the middle ear region. The reason is that in the inner ear, where the sound can be detected, the sound waves can be detected, that area is filled with a fluid. So if you have to transmit the sound waves to an area that is filled with a fluid, the sound waves have to be amplified, and that is what is achieved by these three bones, tiny bones that are present in our middle ear. Okay? So the external ear, like I told you, receives the sound waves and directs them to the eardrum. The eardrum is present at the end of the auditory canal. The eardrum vibrates in response to the sound waves, and these vibrations are transmitted through the ear ossicles. The ossicles amplify the sound. Amplify meaning make it the pressure more. Okay. Sound waves need to be amplified because the inner ear is filled with fluid, and when sound waves travel from air to liquid, energy is lost. Okay. So that's the reason why the sound waves have to be amplified. Now, the amplified sound waves are transmitted to the inner ear. That is where the fluid-filled structure is present. Okay, it's known as the cochlea. The snail shell-like structure that you're seeing in the inner ear, that is what is filled with fluid, and that is where the receptors for these sound waves are present. Once the sound waves reach the inner ear, they are converted to electrical impulses. Okay, so these electrical impulses are traveling down the auditory nerve to the brain. So the electrical impulses that are generated in our inner ear will get transmitted through the auditory nerve to the cerebral region of our brain, and the brain will then translate these impulses as sound. Okay, so that is how we are able to hear. So this impulse will be traveling down or transmitted through the auditory nerve to the cortical region of the brain or the cerebrum, and that is how we perceive sound. Okay, so now let's look at the question. Assertion statement: auditory ossicles help in hearing. They do, And how exactly do they help us in hearing? They help in amplifying the sound. So both the assertion and reason are true, and reason does correctly explain the assertion statement. So our correct answer to this question is option A. Here's the question. Which of the following is not matched correctly? Option A, auditory canal directs sound waves to eardrum. Option B, eardrum vibrates and transmits sound waves. Option C, ear ossicles amplify sound waves. And option D, cochlea helps in body balance. Okay, so these are the different parts of the ear, and the functions of the different parts are given in the different options. And in one option, the structure is not correctly matched with the function, and that is what we have to find out. Okay, so let's look at the different parts of the ear. The ear is divisible into three parts. There's the outer ear, middle ear, and the inner ear. In the outer ear, you have the pinna. The pinna collects the sound waves, and then through the auditory canal, which is also known as the external auditory meatus, will help transmit these sound waves till the tympanic membrane, which is known as the eardrum. Okay, so the external auditory canal receives sound waves and directs them to the eardrum. So eardrum is also known as the tympanic membrane. It acts like the head of a drum. So whenever the sound waves hit the tympanic membrane, it will start vibrating back and forth. Okay, so the eardrum vibrates in response to the sound waves. These vibrations are then passed on to the three tiny bones that are present in the middle ear. Okay, so this till the tympanic membrane, it is the outer ear. From the tympanic membrane, the sound waves will be transmitted to the three tiny bones known as ear ossicles or auditory ossicles that are present in the middle ear. Okay, so the function of the ossicles here is to amplify the sound waves. Okay, so it amplifies the sound. That is the function of the ossicles. So what is the vestibular apparatus? Many of us know that the function of ear is to help us hear sounds, but also another important function of the ear is to maintain balance. Okay, so while we're standing, while we're dancing, or tilting our head, nodding our head, balance is maintained because of the ear as well. Ear also contributes to maintaining the balance. There is a structure known as the vestibular apparatus, which we will find in the inner ear. Okay, so this helps in maintaining the body balance. The vestibular apparatus consists of three semicircular canals. As you can see here, there's 1, 2, and 3. Three semicircular canals present. These three semicircular canals are present at right angles to each other. So they're like this. They're at right angles to each others. Okay. So at the bottom or the base of these three semicircular canals, you can see a swelling of sorts. This is known as the ampulla. At the ampulla, you can find a ridge that is projecting outward, and that is known as crista ampullaris. Okay, and along with the three semicircular canals, you also have the otolith organ that is a part of the vestibular apparatus. The otolith consists of the utricle and the saccule. Okay, so they contain a projecting ridge that is known as the macula, and it is because of macula and crista ampullaris that balance is maintained. Okay, so what helps in body balance is the vestibular apparatus and not the cochlea as given in the option. So let's look at the options once more. Auditory canal directs sound waves to the eardrum, that is correct. Eardrum vibrates and transmits sound waves, that also is correct. Ear ossicles are involved in the amplification of sound waves, that also is correct. What is not correct is option D, cochlea helping in body balance. Body balance is taken care of by the vestibular apparatus. What cochlea does is it'll help transmit or convert the sound waves into electrical impulses, and that is how we make sense of the sound waves and hear sounds. Okay, so body balance is not something that is a function of cochlea. Here we are asked to find out which is an incorrect match. So the correct answer to this question is option D. Here's the question. Auditory cortex is located in the options are cerebellum, hypothalamus, cerebrum, and option D, corpus callosum. Okay, so what is the auditory cortex? It is a portion or a region in our brain where the auditory information will get processed. Okay, so it is because of this region that we will be able to hear sounds, and it is present in the cerebral region of our brain, cerebrum, which is the largest part of our brain. It's present there. Okay, so now I'll tell you how exactly the sound waves will form nerve impulses, and then how exactly that gets transmitted to the auditory cortical region in our brain. Okay, so we have three parts in the ear. There's the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. In the outer ear, we have the pinna. The pinna will receive the sound waves and through the external auditory canal transmit the sound waves to the eardrum or the tympanic membrane that is present at the end of the auditory canal. Okay, so when these sound waves hit the tympanic membrane, it behaves like a head of the drum. Just like when you hit the head of a drum, it will start moving up and down, right? So this tympanic membrane, when sound waves start hitting it, it will start moving back and forth. That is what happens in the outer ear. Now in the middle ear, you have three bones that are present, the three tiny bones that are present. They are known as malleus, incus, and stapes, and collectively they are known as the ear ossicles. Okay, so the first ear ossicle, that is malleus, it is attached to the tympanic membrane. To malleus, incus is attached. To incus, the stapes is attached. So they are present in that sequence. When the eardrum starts vibrating, it will cause the three bones also to start vibrating. The function of these three bones that is present in the middle ear is to amplify the sound waves, because the sound waves now will have to be transmitted to a region in the inner ear which is filled with a fluid. Okay, so therefore amplification of sound waves is a requirement, and this helps in amplifying the sound. Now the sound is transmitted, the sound waves is transmitted to the region in the inner ear known as the cochlea. So in the inner ear, you know, there's a snail shell-shaped region that is called the cochlea. That is not the only part of the inner ear. That is a part of the inner ear that is involved in hearing. Okay. So here, this portion is filled with fluid. So amplification will help, these bones will help amplify the sound so that it can be transmitted to the fluid-filled region of the inner ear or the cochlea more specifically. So within the cochlea, you have receptors that can detect these sound waves, and then they will convert that into an electrical impulse, and then through the auditory nerve it is transmitted to the auditory cortical region of our brain. Okay, so I will summarize. The external ear receives sound waves and directs them to the eardrum. The eardrum vibrates in response to the sound waves, and these vibrations are transmitted through the ear ossicles to the oval window. Now what is the oval window? I told you that there are the three small bones, right? The first one, the malleus, was connected to the tympanic membrane. The last one will be connected to the cochlea by the oval window. Okay, so here, wherever the last bone, that is the stapes, the smallest bone, is attaching to the cochlea, so that portion, that region is known as the oval window. And the vibrations are passed through the oval window onto the fluid of cochlea, where they generate waves in the limbs. Now, limbs are nothing but the fluids that are present in the cochlea. I told you it is fluid filled, right? There are two different types of fluids that are present within the cochlea. That is the endolymph and the perilymph. As the oval window starts moving, it will start generating waves within these fluids, which we call the lymphs. Okay, so the waves in the lymphs induce a ripple in the basilar membrane. Now, basilar membrane is one of the membranes that you find within the cochlea. So when there is ripples that are produced in the lymphs in the inner ear, this basilar membrane will also start moving. Now, in the basilar membrane, you have hair cells. So these hair cells are what will, receive the sound waves. And when this basilar membrane will start moving, the hair cells will start pressing them against the tectorial membrane. Within the inner ear, you have two membranes. Okay, there's the basilar membrane and then there's the tectorial membrane. When the basilar membrane starts moving, the hair cells that are present in the basilar membrane will start pressing against the tectorial membrane, which is the other membrane found in the cochlea. Okay, so then the nerve impulses will get generated. As a result of this, the nerve impulses will get generated, and these nerve impulses are transmitted by the afferent fibers of auditory nerves. Afferent fibers are nerve fibers that will carry impulses from sensory structures to the brain. So since this is auditory, so these auditory nerves will carry information, the nerve impulses, to the auditory cortex region of our brain, which is found in the cerebrum. Okay, so that is where the impulses are analyzed and the sound will be recognized. Okay, so the correct answer is the auditory cortex is a region that is found in the cerebrum of our brain. In the options, we had cerebellum as well. Cerebellum is a part of our hindbrain and it is involved in maintaining posture and body balance. Hypothalamus was another option. Hypothalamus is incorrect because it is a part of the forebrain that is involved in regulating sexual behavior, body temperature, urge for eating and drinking and all of that. Okay, so in the hypothalamus you don't have the auditory cortex. Corpus callosum. Corpus callosum is a tract of nerve fibers that connect the right and the left hemispheres of the cerebrum. Okay, so that also does not have the auditory cortex region. The auditory cortex is found in the cerebrum. So the correct answer to this question is option C. Here's the question. The malleus is attached to the dash. The options are pinna, stapes, oval window of cochlea. Option D, tympanic membrane. Now, what is the malleus? Malleus is one of the 3 ear ossicles that we find in the middle ear. Okay, so we have to find out what it is attached to among the given options. So let's begin by talking about the structure of the ear in general. The human ear has 3 parts: the outer ear, middle ear, and the inner ear. The outer ear has the pinna. Pinna is this visible part of your ear, and the pinna will lead to the external auditory meatus, which is also known as the external auditory canal. So this portion is the external auditory canal. So this external auditory canal will extend inwards to the tympanic membrane. So this here is the tympanic membrane. Okay, so it is also known as the eardrum. That is the outer ear. Talking about the middle ear. Middle ear consists of 3 tiny bones that are known as ear ossicles. From outside to inside, they are arranged in this fashion. There's malleus first, followed by incus, and then you have stapes. Okay, so since malleus is outermost, malleus is attached to the tympanic membrane. So malleus is attached to the tympanic membrane. So this first bone here is the malleus. As you can see, it is attached to the tympanic membrane. To the malleus, the second bone stapes is attached. To the stapes, the second bone incus is attached to the malleus. And to incus, the stapes is attached. Stapes is attached to a part of the inner ear known as the cochlea. So the stapes is attached to specifically the oval window of the cochlea. Okay, so in the question we were asked where the malleus is attached to. It is not attached to the pinna. It is not attached to the stapes. On one end it is attached to the tympanic membrane. On the other end it is attached to the second bone, which is known as the incus, okay, and not to stapes. And to the oval window of cochlea, it is the stapes that is attached and not the malleus. So the correct answer to this question is option D, tympanic membrane. Here's the question. Dash and dash are the specific receptors of the vestibular apparatus responsible for maintenance of balance of the body and posture. The options are saccule and utricle, saccule and macula, crista and utricle, crista and macula. So we have to find out which is the specific receptor of the vestibular apparatus. What is the vestibular apparatus? A vestibular apparatus is what is involved in maintaining the body balance, and it is a part of the inner ear. Okay, so vestibular apparatus is located above the cochlea. Now the cochlea also is a part of the inner ear. The vestibular apparatus is composed of 3 semicircular canals and an otolith organ. The otolith organ consists of 2 parts, the saccule and the utricle. The saccule and utricle contain a projecting ridge which is known as the macula. Okay, so in the inner ear you have 2 parts. You have the cochlea and then you have the vestibular apparatus. Cochlea is involved in hearing and vestibular apparatus is involved in maintaining the body balance. The vestibular apparatus is composed of the 3 semicircular canals, and then it has the otolith organ which is composed of saccule and utricle, and the projecting ridge that arises from the saccule and utricle is what is known as the macula. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now at the base of the 3 semicircular canals, you have a swollen end. Okay, so as you can see here, this is one semicircular canal and at the base it is slightly swollen. This swollen base of the 3 semicircular canals is known as the ampulla. Similar to how the saccule and utricle contained a projecting ridge, the ampulla also will contain a projecting ridge that is known as crista ampullaris. Now this crista ampullaris will have hair cells, okay? So that is how it acts like the receptor. The crista, which is the projecting ridge found in the ampulla, and the macula, which is the projecting ridge that you find in the otolith organ, they are the specific receptors of the vestibular apparatus responsible for maintaining the body balance and posture. Okay, so yeah, The three semicircular canals are at right angles to each other, as you can see here. And like I mentioned already, the ampulla contains a projecting ridge known as the crista ampullaris, and the otolith organ, the saccule and the utricle, contain a projecting ridge that is known as the macula. So it is the macula and crista that are the specific receptors of the vestibular apparatus. So the correct answer to this question is option D, crista and macula.